So I'm a little overdue with this Q&A, but I wanted to make sure I still did it. So I have the questions put up here. There's a lot of comments, which I appreciate all the comments. But I'm gonna try to go through and find some questions here and answer those for you all. First and foremost, I want to make sure that I tell you all this. So that race will be a documentary. We're working on it right now. Hopefully, sometime in September it comes out, but it's looking really, really good. I'm really proud of it. Um, they're doing a phenomenal job with it, but I just can't. Yeah, I can't wait to share it with you all. So, like, first question is, how pumped are you about the race? And then, what does this mean for future in racing and swimming? So, the goal is still the same, right? Triathlon 2026, Summer Strat 2027, Ironman 2028. Along the way, though, there will always be side quests. So the 3K swim race, I'm doing a 5K in a few weeks, probably an event next summertime, like probably a swimming event next summer. For me, like activity goals are what help keep me accountable and help keep me motivated. Losing weight is like super important, but it's too big. It's too big of a goal, and honestly, it's just a lot. But do you see yourself reaching a competitive level physically in the future? I mean, I want to be competitive for sure. I don't know if I'll ever like be that good, but I just want to be competitive in the fields I'm in. Um, and then the next question is, do you prefer to just push towards health? And when you reach that, will you be satisfied? I think for me, it's like I'll always want to have some level of competition involved. Um, I don't think I'll ever be like pro in any one thing or anything like that, but I want to be able to compete in different activities, probably more like on the endurance side of things. I would assume like I'm a big fan of like Ross Edgley. So there's a part of me that wants to like swim across one of the Great Lakes or swim around Manhattan in the future. Like I don't know, do some of those endurance swim stuff or Arch to Arch is a really cool race. I've always a guy looked at recently. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that eventually, and then help people. Right. I think also like part of this journey is that I love hopefully just inspiring someone, but then also want to help people too. Right. I got a lot of help, especially early on, and I want to be able to give that back in the future. So those are some of the goals. Yeah, what would I do? Like, what do I want to do after the Ironman is a good question, and I think that is an answer that I don't know yet. Like, I don't have the. I've set myself up for like a 3 year plan, and then after the Ironman, I have no idea what's happening next. There are some thoughts for sure. You know, maybe in more races, coaching. Like, I just know how that is going to play out and how that's going to shake out from now until then, and I'll be a different person by then too. So, we're just going to keep these three goals, the main goals, and then add in some side quests as they pop up and go from there. How did you find the motivation not only to do this race but complete it? Um, I needed a reason to swim, right? So when I first started swimming, swimming for weight loss wasn't enough of a reason for me to get in the water. However, I knew that if I picked a race or something that's coming up, right, before the triathlon, that I would want to continue to swim more. And so I found this race. It was close to home. I was like, okay, we'll do that. And then I actually did the whole race um, the Tuesday before the race itself, which is not recommended. I don't think you should do your full race the week of the race. And I got injured actually on that Tuesday. My shoulder was pretty banged up, but I could finish. Right, I knew I could finish it, and I knew kind of like what to expect. And so I spent the entire week resting, doing some shoulder exercises, right, some shoulder mobility exercises. And so when it came time for the day of the race, I knew I could do the distance. I'd done it before. My question was, will my arm hold up? Um, and can I do it in the time limit that was allotted? And so my shoulder held up, no pain at all actually, which was just super, super cool. And then I did it in the time allotted too. So both things I was able to accomplish. I want to get my time faster for sure. But again, my friends tell me, hey, Sal, no one else out here is your size. I was the biggest person by at least, 200 pounds or so, if not more. And so I competed it. It was because I set my mind to it. And along the way, it was like just super fun for me to compete in the swimming part of it, in the training aspects, and getting better, and getting my stroke fixed, and all the things. Right, I was so meticulous in trying to make sure I was the best version of myself for that race. And even though I had the little injury, right, the diving board accident happened in between the training and I missed about 4 weeks of training, I think I still came out pretty strong and gave a really good effort. One that I'm proud of for sure. And so I look forward to the next race to see how that goes too. How did I prepare for the race and what did my training and eating look like? My eating was the same. It was basically 22 to 2,500 calories per day when I was on point. Now, there were some days when I was off point, right? We talked about binges. We talked about all of those things have happened across this entire time. But when I was on point, 22 to 2,500, 22 to 2,500 calories. How did I prepare? I started off by just doing time, right? So I started off with just how long can I swim for? And so I think the most I got up to was about 60 or 55 minutes straight swimming before I got a Garmin watch. And then once I got a Garmin watch, I was able to track distance and see, okay, 1,200 meters straight, 1,500 meters straight, 2,000 meters straight. The plan wasn't like super in depth. It was, I coached myself for this race. In hindsight, I probably should have hired or reached out to someone else to coach me for this race, but I kind of wanted to see how I did it, and we made it work. It wasn't perfect. If I had a coach, I probably would have been a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner along the way. But yeah, how did I feel during the race? So the first part of the race was super smooth, and then the wind changed about halfway through the race, and the water got really choppy. And so every time I'm going to breathe, I'm just drinking water, right? To the point where like I breathe only on the right side. For probably 500 meters, I was breathing left side, which was super hard and not something I've done too much in training, but it was just that choppy of water, and it was so bad. And then towards the end of the race, everything just cramped, right? And like I felt like I was swimming forever, and I was like, "When am I finished? When am I finished?" And I knew I was like, I could see the finish line. Probably the last back half stretch was the hardest stretch of the entire race because like once you turn that buoy, you can see home and you can see the finish line, but it feels like it's forever away, miles and miles away, and every stroke is difficult. I mean, everything is hurting, everything is cramped, and you're just trying to fight the best you can. Afterwards, I felt nothing, which is crazy to say, but for me, like I'm automatically thinking about the next thing. It took me probably a couple of days to really sit with what I just accomplished and really appreciate how happy, like, how proud I was of myself. Because like afterwards, I was just like, there was not feeling there of like joy or sadness. It was just kind of like it was. It was cool to cross the finish line and see my friends for sure, and my family. That was like the coolest part, and that's what was happy. But like to like really sit with what happened and what I accomplished, it took me a few days to really sit in that moment and sit in that feeling, and that felt really good. How far do I want to go next time? I don't. I mean, probably 6K is the next distance. If I might do 3K again, but then 6K, and then probably some long distances like some miles. So there's like a 10K swim in Michigan that happens every year. There's Manhattan's 22 miles. The swim from the island off of the California coast is 20 miles. So there's like distance for sure, but let's just stick to the 3 and 6Ks for now. What's something you're looking forward to being able to do that you can't do right now? Um, I mean, just like playing sports better and winning. Right. Right now, I'm playing a lot of sports, but I'm getting my ass kicked in a lot of sports too. Because I would like to be competitive in the sports I'm doing and just like put up a good showing. Also, like things that I just physically can't do right now. Biking, right, which is coming. Like biking is so close. We're so close to being able to start biking. Um, Riding like four wheelers, doing snowmobiles, stuff like jet skis, things that have weight limits, weight capacities. Basically, being able to do things that I can't do based on like my size right now. I'm pretty active and pretty mobile, and I'm doing most of the things that I can do without like weight limitations. But there are things that just have weight limitations that you just can't do until you're a certain weight, and those are the things I'm looking forward to doing most. Do I have any performance-based goals right now? I mean, yeah, triathlon is like the next big thing. We're gonna get past this 5K in a few weeks, and then probably lock in for about 7 months, um, about 6 months, focusing on solely triathlon training and putting myself in a position to complete an Olympic distance triathlon um, before April 18th, 2026 is the goal. Someone asked how tall am I? I want to lie to y'all. I want to lie to y'all and tell y'all I'm 6 foot, but 5'11". Um, but man, I want to tell y'all I was 6 foot. All right, so we had to move locations just to get a better. There's a lot of noise on that side. Um, when am I going to do another grocery haul video? I'm going to try to do those weekly when I'm home. I try to do those weekly from here on out. I'm home for the next 5 weeks, so I'm gonna try to do some of those, or do one of those every single week. They're good for me. They hold me accountable, and I think that you will get something out of them too. Um, when's my next race? The 5K, and then I think I'm gonna sit down after the 5K until the triathlon. I don't think I'm gonna do anything between the 5K and the triathlon. I thought about trying to do something like in December, but did I track health metrics and heart rate for the race? I did. It's on Strava. I forget exactly what the heart rate was, but I want to say like I maxed out at 135 or 137, um, and stayed like closer to like 105 heart rate most of the race. I wasn't I wasn't pushing too much, especially like I wasn't it wasn't max effort at all. It was more of just like kind of just make it happen and go as best as I can go. I've had faster swims. Like I think my max heart rate in swimming has been 160, and that was when I was training and doing some sprints, and I was like just huffing it for sure. But typically speaking, my heart rate is between 105 and 130 on any given swim in general. What was the most rewarding part of the journey? Having my friends and family there and the boys to come do it with me. That was probably for me what meant the most to me and what probably brought me the most joy. Completing it for sure is cool, and I was going to complete it no matter what. But having everyone there with me to compete and to swim and just support after the fact meant the world to me, and probably is a thing that I'll never forget. That will be hugging my godfather after the race is a moment that will live with me forever, right? Will I do more cheat meal made at home like I did with the Baconator? Yes, I've been thinking about that for a while. I need to do more of those videos. They take kind of a bit of planning. I have to write the recipes and do all this stuff for them. But I was kind of in and out of the city a lot the past 2 months. So I think I only have 2 more trips, maybe 3 more trips planned for the rest of the year. So when I'm home, I'm gonna try to write some recipes. I want to do. Taco Bell has been in my mind for like the wildest, for the longest, right? I want to do a Crunchwrap Supreme, and a few other things, and make them healthier. So I'll probably work on those recipes, and then in the coming weeks, and maybe post one, at least one in September, and then hopefully two, but at least one. Hold me to that. Like hold me to that one too. National Geographic whale documentary. Some of the things that people say is absolutely wild. Here's what I will tell people, and I tell this to all my friends too. I don't mind the haters and the people that make mean comments, because when you're my size, nothing that you can say I haven't said to myself 10 times worse. My thing is, and my humble request for all folks who wish to comment things that are negative, please be funny. Like please just be funny. Like I'm an easygoing guy. If it's funny, if it's gonna make me chuckle, then whatever. Um, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. Most of his comments here are very very kind. It's kind of like the brain, right? You always pick up the negative things. You can see 1,000 positives, but the first thing negative you see, it's like you harper on that. Everything else here has been super. If you're looking for glory in a place that you should never have been to begin with, it would take two and a half times the effort to complete this journey, and you distract yourself with social media. My advice: get off social media and do the business necessary, then come back and glorify yourself. I hate it when we congratulate people for doing what they should be doing to begin with. Well, no one asks your advice. There's no question there. Second of all, I think that there's a beauty in trying to showcase the journey publicly. And sure, it may take a little bit longer. It may have ups and downs and add a layer of stress that didn't need to be added. But it also may help someone. It may inspire someone else to move forward, and it also adds a layer of accountability that wasn't there before too, right? I've tried to lose weight my entire life. I've tried many things, right? I've done the keto, I've done the Atkins, I've done the low carb, I've done pescatarian, I've done it all. I've tried it all, and um, I usually quit after the 6 month mark if I get to the 6 month mark. Here we are, 10 months into it. Has it been perfect? No. There have been ups and downs. There have been stalls. I've fucked up more times than I care to count along this process. But I'm still showing up every day. I'm still putting in effort. And part of that is because I've built a community that is relying on me to show up every single day, right? That has an expectation that I show up and showcase what's going on, good, bad, or ugly. And I weigh in every Sunday, and the Sundays I know when it's going to be bad, I want to skip it. I so want to skip it. And yet I'm accountable to the folks who have followed, who have clicked the follow button, the subscribe button, and so I show up anyway. And I do it. So I think that, yeah, could it be done maybe faster, if you were doing it behind closed doors? Maybe. But for me, it probably wouldn't have worked. I would have just quit again. I would have just given up at some point. And for me, it's not about losing weight. It's about life and death. And if social media, having the accountability of the folks in the midst of the journey help me reach that goal, then why not use it? Even if it takes 6 months to a year longer than what it maybe could have taken. I don't know. That's just my take. But again, wasn't even a question. So I think we've gone through all the questions that were there. A little bit of housekeeping things. Or let me first address the race itself. I couldn't have done the race without Johnny and Nick coming along with me. Those two guys, I texted. Johnny kind of found out about the race late, probably in May. And then he texted Nick right away, and Nick said yes without hesitation. Nick was like, yeah, I'm down for sure. And then Johnny said yes, had never swam before or swam sparingly, and hopped in the race and just did it with us. And those two coming along and just getting in the trenches with me meant the world to me. I think there's something about being in battle, being in the muck together, in the same journey, the same process. We kind of know what everyone's going through, right? Nick's lost 300 pounds. So Nick has been where I've been at, and we spent a weekend together, and I was able to ask him questions and pick his brain. And, we talked about the 150 mark being the hardest mark of the journey. And we were able to just have those similarities that you get that you don't always have. And so just being able to be in the community for the whole weekend with those guys, and having them there for the race, unforgettable. My training partner for swims, Lauren, she is phenomenal. I met her kind of in the midst of this process of swimming and stuff at the pool, and whenever I text her to come swim, no matter the distance, no matter the time, whatever, she's always down. She's always game. When I swam the 3K race, that Tuesday before the race, she came with me. She finished her swim an hour before me, and then just sat and waited for me to finish my swim. Right, that's just someone who's talked about, hey, what she saw, what she How the swim look, right? How did it feel? All of these things we're able to have the conversation about. And I think that level of support just means like, you don't do this alone. I think that you don't lose weight alone. You don't complete the races alone. Like none of this stuff is done in a vacuum. It takes a village of people to help support and guide at least me for success. Um, Trey and Avery are the biggest accountable people that right. They are they forced me to go swimming more times than I care to count. Right? It's like, hey, go get your swim in first, then come back to the gym. Go swim, then come back to the gym. That was like most of the entire beginning of this process. Because in the beginning there was no race; it was just swim for cardio, and it was like, hey, just go swim to get your cardio, and then come back to the gym. And the pool was literally 9 minutes from the gym, so I would come to the gym, go swim, come back, and then work out, whatever, do my stuff. Uh, Coach Mom is always like, she always says, "How many times you swim this week, Sal?" And if I say less than two, she wasn't happy, right? So those folks, those people, helped make this possible. Rock on videographing the whole thing, and from a point and shoot standpoint, was there the whole time, the day before, the day of, after the race, and really is going to make this entire thing come to life. Um, so like all those folks together, Farmer Boy Fitness sponsoring the video, and really what that meant mostly is sponsoring the videography services to turn it into a documentary, because it's not super cheap. Well, it's not cheap at all, but I think it's valuable to have that moment, not just for myself, but for also the fellas too, that we can all cherish this story and this moment and relive it together, because it is a big moment for all of us. I think it's all of our first swims, our first competitive swims, and hopefully it won't be our last ones, but super special for that. And then lastly, you all, right? You all being there. I talked about just a few minutes ago how the accountability of you all has been unequivocally the difference between me succeeding and me failing in this journey, is that you all are there. I know that people are watching and that I need to shape up, right? And try and achieve, not just for myself, but for the folks that are relying on me, holding me accountable, all of these things. Pressure is good, right? And I like the pressure of it all. It's not for everyone, though. I think that some people wouldn't like this pressure, wouldn't like the idea of trying to show up every day. But the alternative for me is death. So, I don't have a choice but to show up as best I can. And it's not perfect. It's not always easy, but try to be honest with what's going on and try to show up the best way I can. All right, I think this is enough for the Q&A today. I appreciate y'all being here. I'm sorry it took so long to put this together. Next month's Q&A will be done just like the month before, right? Where I ask questions, record the next day, and then post it the following day. This one just kind of got lost in the muck, and honestly, I was a little bit down in the first half of the month as far as like making content and editing things, and so I had a realization a couple days ago that there's no excuse. That's a whole different conversation for a different day. But I appreciate y'all being here. We'll talk soon. Cheers.